Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hard for those of you that are new. And today I have a two-game NBA slate breakdown here for Thursday night on DraftKings. I'll be talking through everything you guys need to know for the slates. You guys already know what this is about, so make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Let's get right into it. I just want to recap my lineup from last night before I do. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at HeartDFS. But here's my lineup from last night. It could have been a really good night there if I, obviously swapped Steph Curry onto pretty much anyone else there, especially D'Lo. I think D'Lo went for like 65 there, so that obviously would have had, it would have been fantastic for me. I would have made a good amount of money there if I just flip flopped them because Steph absolutely sucks. 4% owned, got absolutely screwed there. But as you can see, Reeves was absolutely fantastic, triple double there in a double overtime game. Jaime was super disappointing, frustrating, but he was 56% owned, so it didn't hurt me too much there. Anthony Davis obviously smashed, bam, smashed there in a blowout. Would have been nice if that game was close for the last quarter. Jose did well there as a dart throw value. Same thing with Highsmith. Would have been nice if the game stayed close. And then Looney was fine. Wish he would have done a little bit better with the, Trace Jackson Davis being ruled out and them needing him to guard Bam. But it didn't really work out with that Miami game, unfortunately. But otherwise, solid nights. Could have had a huge money there if Steph just didn't suck. So moving on to this two-game slate for tonight, as you guys can see, for Thursday night, which you guys are watching this for that slate. But Boston, Atlanta, and then Milwaukee versus the Pelicans. For the first game there, obviously there's a ton of blowout risk here for the Celtics versus the Hawks. Right now it's a 12.5 point spread on DraftKings Sportsbook, 226 total. And then the second game, Bucks, Pelicans, 2-point spread, 224 total. So hopping into this first game here. Right now, we have Horford questionable and Drew Holiday questionable, which obviously messes up the lineup a little bit and how we wanted to attack it. But with pretty much a fully healthy team, I don't know if there's really any standouts, especially on a two-game slates. Like Derek Wright's really, really priced up to the point where he's playing alongside Porzingis in terms of pricing. I don't know if I'd go to Derek Wright. Like he's a fine play to get different, but if you want to really kind of dive into two people, I'd say it's going to be Porzingis and Tatum for me. And then Brown and White are more so just strong secondary options if you want to get different, depending on how the ownership goes. Like on a small two-game slate like this, it's really just kind of dependent on where the ownership goes. If you want to chase the ownership or if you want to get different, you can go to guys like Brown and White. Obviously, it's a fantastic matchup here against Atlanta. Like I would say you want to get to at least one or two guys on the Celtics, even though there is huge blowout risk, and just hope it stays close enough for them to kind of pay off their price tags and pay off the ownership. That's kind of how I'm thinking. Right now, I could just kind of wait for the ownership tomorrow morning, kind of midday tomorrow to see kind of how I'm going to attack the slate. But right now, Tatum, Porzingis are my two favorites, and then Brown and White are pretty strong secondary options. Now, obviously, if Holiday misses, it's a bump to guys like White on kind of the rest of the starters in terms of just, more playmaking for them, ball in the hand of Tatum even more. Pritchard would possibly start if he starts. I think he'd be fine play, and he is priced up to 5.8. Obviously, if Horford, misses just more minutes to a guy like Porzingis, I'd say he gets, maybe 1 to 3 more minutes. And then obviously they're going to, disperse some minutes to a guy like Luke Cornett off the bench and Tillman, but I wouldn't have much interest in either one of them. So right now, I would just throw Tatum and Porzingis into the lineup right now. For Atlanta, they are playing in a game tonight, so obviously a back-to-back here going against the Celtics. It does not stack up well in terms of this game hopefully staying close. So it could just be an absolutely disgusting slate tomorrow if you do go to this first game and the game absolutely just blows out within the first quarter. A high possibility because obviously Atlanta's on a back-to-back. Boston, I don't think, has played in like 2 days. Let's see here. Yeah, they haven't played since the 25th. So it'll be 3 days since they've last played, fully rested, and then the Hawks are playing tonight. They have to play tomorrow against Boston. At least it's in Atlanta, but still, the tables or the chips are stacked against the Hawks right now. But it's one of those things, if this game stays close, it's going to have to be because of a monster game there from DeJounte Murray, who's doing everything for this team. So he looks really, really solid. If you think this game stays close, going to be because of him. And then there will be secondary guys who do step up. Obviously, the two main ones are going to be Hunter and Bogdan, who both look like pretty strong plays to, pretty much both look like pretty strong plays right now based on their pricing. 6.3 for Bogdan, 5.5 for Hunter. They should both see mid-30s minutes, and they should both be pretty aggressive off the bench. They're both more just, kind of scorers out there, but they do both have upside. Clint Capella, they're going to need him out there. He should play still only close to around 30 minutes. Double-double threat, as you can see. So he's a fine play at 6.1. Don't mind him. Just more so kind of a different play I'm sure Bruno Fernando will have a good amount of ownership, 4.4K, especially if this game blows out. I do expect him to see some blowout run there. So he's definitely a risky play, but definitely, blowout risk kind of proof, hopefully. Um, that's really it. Garrison Matthews did see some decent minutes the past few games, especially if it blows out. I mean, he's seen some good minutes tonight. He could have one of those random games where he does come out and hit like 5 threes and definitely pay off 3.3K. So I don't mind taking a dart throw on him, especially on a 2-game slate. If you're looking to get different, he could be one of your guys. And moving on to the game, I think most people will target just because it should be close. But obviously Milwaukee coming off a pretty bad defeat there against the Lakers, blew the lead. No LeBron, double overtime, and they failed there with a fully healthy team. But obviously right now, Giannis is questionable. Same thing with Middleton. But Giannis should probably be good to go. Same thing with Middleton here. So fully healthy team. It's kind of the same how I want to attack it. It's nice to see Giannis's salary come down. Same thing with Lillard. Same thing with Middleton. They're all feel pretty cheap here. So I like all three of them. Obviously, Giannis stands out as the best and safest play, but I really like Dame and Middleton in terms of just their upside. And their ownership is usually a little bit less than it should be. So I like both of them. Middleton last game saw 39 minutes, so it's really, really nice to see that. He's been aggressive. He should be able to get his alongside Dame and Giannis. Dame, I would say, is a little bit more of the boomer bust. Wasn't doing the best there. As you can see, he was 9 for 29, 3 of 14 from 3. Still salvaged that because he played 49 minutes, but he does have a little bit of a lower floor, especially with Middleton back. Middleton will post up, have the ball in his hands. So obviously Dame's upside goes down a little bit, but he's still a pretty strong play to get different and contrarian on this slate. So I don't mind if you want to get different by going to Dame there. But I absolutely love Middleton. And once again, with Portis and Lopez, Portis has obviously been the better of the bunch pretty much all season. But on a 2-game slates, I don't mind getting to, Brook Lopez, 5,000. He's seen, at least mid-20s, if not closer to 30 minutes. And we know he has huge upside. Obviously, he's not going to shoot the ball a ton. You really, really need him to come out and hit a few threes to get going right away. And he still probably won't be featured in the offense, but you're really just relying on him getting some rebounds and blocks and maybe hitting, 4 or 5 threes. Like, that could be an easy possibility for him, 5,000. I don't mind, getting absolutely, crazy and going to him at 5,000, just hoping it works out because he should be super low owned and he does have monster upside, especially if he goes for like 4 or 5 blocks, which is definitely in the relevant possibility for him. So I don't mind him there. Beasley, he's a fine play if you land on him. Obviously, don't expect 40 minutes. Expect closer to that 30-minute mark. Very score independent, so he's just there. Pat Bev is questionable with that wrist injury. If he's out, just more minutes to guys like Beasley. They're just going to spread it around to pretty much every, kind of the main guys. So there's really no one that kind of jumps into consideration with Pat Bev potentially being out. And then Crowder and Connaughton, kind of your 2 dart throw plays, kind of like a Garrison Matthews, where they'll see the minutes. It just you're really hoping they hit a few shots. Otherwise, they're just not going to do much. And then for the Pelicans, obviously, CJ and Zion are going to be very, very strong plays. Zion's been very, very solid, very, very good recently. Been more of a playmaker as well. As you can see, the assist number 6 and 10 there with no Ingram the past 2 games, 55 bombs, back-to-back games there. So he looks really good here, especially against the Milwaukee defense. Same thing with CJ, a little bit more boomer bust, but still, he should see a ton of minutes. He's going to shoot the ball a ton, and we know the playmaking ability with CJ. So CJ is probably going to be one of the highest owned, if not the highest owned player on the slates for good reason. I do like Zion, and then I really like Trey Murphy here. Should be the third option. Played monster minutes, 6 of 10, and had a solid game there, 30.5 fantasy points. So really, really like the ceiling and the floor for a guy like him right now. And as I mentioned, Herb Jones is a great pivot play. Saw 31 minutes, shot the ball a little bit more, as you can see, 4 of 12, 28.5 fantasy points. Obviously deals with foul trouble at times, but he's really good at getting blocks and steals. So if you have a game where he goes for multiple stocks, plus hits a few threes, plays 35 minutes, at 5.1K, he should easily pay off that price tag. So I really like him. J-Val, even in this matchup, Milwaukee is big. Maybe he sees some more minutes. I just don't know. Brook Lopez is pretty mobile. Obviously, Giannis is extremely mobile. So his minutes have already ticked down. I just think he's a super, super risky GPP play. I don't think there's a need to get to him unless you're making tons of lineups. Then you can throw him in a few. But I'd just rather go to, Larry Nance or Najee Marshall. Both guys should see more minutes than J-Val. They're both more productive, and they're both coming at very cheap price tags. So they both look really, really good there. And they're going to need them. They're more mobile than J-Val. They're, obviously J-Val has more size, but Marshall and Lance are going to be able to keep up more with Brook Lopez and Giannis there. And then Jose Alvarado is questionable. If he misses, we could see a guy like Hawkins maybe get a little bit more of those minutes there. I don't know if you'd see it a ton. I think they just kind of spread those minutes around to kind of the main starters. But if he's good to go, I don't mind him as a dart throw. He's really solid for me that last game, almost 20 fantasy points. Should see anywhere from like 12 to 20 minutes. I think he's fine at 4.1. Nothing crazy there. And that's it. Obviously, a 2-game slate. It's just one of those things like, do you chase the chalk? Do you chase the ownership? Or do you try to get different? There's some options to get different. Obviously, there's some injury question marks we do have to kind of wait for. Holiday, Horford, Giannis, and Middleton, Alvarado. But yeah, right now, obviously, I think the easy plays right now for me personally are going to be, I'd say these three right now: CJ, Trey Murphy, Chris Middleton. And if I had to pick a fourth, it would probably be Tatum, just because of the matchup. He's done really well recently as well. So I know there's been the past few games, I know they've kind of been resting one or two of their stars, and then the other game they flip flop. But still, I think right now these are kind of the main four I'm focusing on. Once again, waiting for ownership, waiting for the injury news. But yeah, this is the Oilers breakdown. Hope you guys like it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.